Welcome to the summer playoffs, coming into match point now for RNG. They win this, they take down Rogue Warriors, and if they win this, they lock down Worlds.
They're continuing on the golden year for them so far. We're talking about MSI, Rift Rivals, Asian Games, every single tournament they participate in, they came out the winners and the champions. Can they actually continue this legendary run? It all comes down to here.
It's just confidence coming out from RNG, you know. You see it in terms of the drafting and the way that they play, and also the way that they bring out people onto their starting roster. The fact that they will move with their B roster essentially up until they lose in playoffs here in the LPL. Originally, I was thinking, is this because of the lack of preparation because of Asian Games just didn't have time, just didn't have members in the country, essentially. But honestly, it just looks like confidence at this point. They know that if they bring in their A roster, we can just save them until they're actually needed, and they will just blast every single game.
Because essentially, they were going into this knowing that their B roster was most likely not going to give them wins. So putting that on yourself and going into a series where you're one step away from Worlds, one game behind already, it's such a big move to make, and it's also a lot of investments shown into their B roster in Able, in MLXG. We could talk about the MSI sections where Karsa seemed to be doing well. He won a game, but they still pulled him off. They said, you had a couple of mistakes here. I want you to be the observer of this game and see how MLXG handles this situation. They want that extra pressure on their starters, so they play with a clear head. And I really give that to teams that are willing to do that on the fly.
Yeah, in such high-stake games as well. Even the playoffs of the summer split, the split going into the World Championship, they're willing to do so. Rogue Warriors, second one's out onto the stage right now. They're going to be subbing back in. Flawless into the jungle, Mouse into the top lane. They're going to go back to their veterans to try and pull out the win right here. I respect it 100%. I think that I'm not sure Holder got all of the opportunities to fully shine in that last game. I do like the composition that still came out from them in the last game, but we didn't get to see full Holder, right?
We didn't get to see the assassin Holder.
Yeah,
we got to see the Mouse version of Holder. So
that's true.
I like them subbing Mouse back in. This signals to me that Rogue Warriors are going to go for their previous game strategy, which is focusing all in onto the bot lane. Now, we've seen this from RNG again and again. They're very willing to show their bot lane early, so you can get those double counter picks, you can all-in them, you can take their early towers. That is definitely a feasible plan against them. In fact, we've seen a lot of teams run exactly that plan. Jingdong, for instance, they had a level 3 tower dive set up, and that was immaculate play with the minion dematerializer. It was very easy to execute on them. And honestly, they could be coming in and having some sort of plan similar to that and just try to keep Uzi down early.
Honestly, this is an emotionally taxing series for Rogue Warriors. I mean, just look at, they went from top to bottom right there, and specifically the members coming off of the bench. I mean, they're watching from the back, thinking about what they can do right now. So rarely do you see a serious phrase from Doinby. That guy is just laughing no matter what the circumstances, and he's the heart and soul of the team. But this is a game away from elimination coming out of the semifinals and playoffs.
Against any other team, I feel like they would have taken the series into 3-0. The mistakes they're made were pretty small, but the comebacks and the hero plays on Rogue Warriors' side cannot be understated. They had their good plays as well. It's just unfortunate that when you are up against RNG, any misstep could mean your life.
I mean, frankly, they were the biggest JD fans in that final game of the regular season when they were going up against RNG. It's like, please, JD, win this set, because then the top side of the bracket is essentially a gimme. It's a freebie. They can go straight into the finals. There's going to be very few people to challenge them, but here, RNG stands in front of them in their home stadium.
If that was the situation where RNG were actually third, Rogue Warriors going into the finals would be enough to secure them into Worlds. And that's what they missed out here, but they're going to have to deal with the reality. RNG, they're going to go back to their comfort pick of Rise.
Yes, they will. They'll lock down the Rise, but also lock out the Urgot. No more of that from Doinby. You're going to have to show us something else. Akali banned towards Rogue Warriors as well, and the Talia. Camille, Rakan, and Aatrox. So first time Aatrox is actually going to be banned in this set. I like to see it. Just get it off the board. Let me was having a field day of that pick. Rise picked up, and the response of the Gragas from Rogue Warriors.
Gragas is way too important for RNG. It's their stable pick at the moment, and for Rogue Warriors, they can play it in the support role. We haven't seen Flawless use the Gragas yet, but for Kahlua, it is something that he can play to protect the AD carry.
Now looking towards the next pickup, it will be the Alistair. I like it very early on. Rakan already off the field, but Tamken's still up for RNG if they want it. And you know, they love their Protect the Uzi compositions. For them to lock down their bottom lane right now, I wouldn't be surprised.
And instantly I have to swallow my words because it will be the first game that Flawless does play the Gragas all split long. And they're still going to go for the Alistar for Kahlua. So there's still a good chance for a strong kill combination in the bot lane. Gragas is one of those champions that if you couple up with the CC with the flash early on, there's a lot of times where you just can't execute. You're just dead.
I appreciate you taking defeat there, Clement, but remember this is the team with Doinby, and his champion pool consists of all million champions, all 151 Pokemon. He'll pick anything into the mid lane. So good still go that most likely going to go to the jungle with the Alistair already picked up. Tamkench and Varus, there you go, bottom lane from RNG. And again, SMLZ putting his chips down onto Misfortune.
And once again, they are going to be having to look for crowd control early on to force people into the bullet time. RNG, again, they have very strong flanking options, and I think that's such a dagger to the throat of Misfortune. Whenever you're trying to open up, you have to make sure the entire squad of RNG is actually in front of you, or else they could just realm more to the back. They have the Abyssal Voyage for that as well. So even though they take away the Gragas, I feel like RNG still have their favored tools, their flanking tools and their 1-3-1 tools.
And Uzi even gets his Varus on top of that. Cassiopeia ban towards Doinby, that is typically his fallback when it's not a tank in the mid lane, when there's not a Rise, then it will be the Cassiopeia as like the plan B.
And the counter picks that we've seen for the mid lane Rise have been Cassiopeia, Orianna, and Syndra. So those are the three big ones that we might be looking for. But unfortunately, we actually haven't seen the Syndra come out for Doinby. So I think RNG could play it pretty safe here. Try to deal away with the Orianna.
Yep, Olaf ban there towards Karsa, Gnar as well towards the top lane. And RNG, final ban, where's it going to be?
Still a lot of deliberation.
Yeah, could be more pressure. Yeah, more pressure onto. That's also a Mouse and technically a Doinby ban. We've seen mid lane Ornn come out from Doinby, but specifically Mouse. He might just pick up the Mundo, honestly. I mean, like, again, 19 picks over the regular season compared to his next highest at 3. Like, this guy has been literally a Mundo bot for the entire season. It's going to be Cho'Gath, so it's still another tank in the top side for him.
Cho'Gath definitely doing better in the meta so far. The lack of the damage runes or the damage rune nerfs has really helped him stay in lane over a lot of other champions, and I think it has more crowd control potential now that Ornn is out of the way. In a 5v5 team fight, there's a good chance that you can land something on the Varus, or you could just crunch down on the front line.
Oh yeah, well, that's sustained from that pick. RNG, though, going towards a jungler now, and it will just lock in the Lee Sin for Karsa. Wow, okay. Up against Flawless, no less.
Now, a lot of LPL players might not know this, but Karsa was a Lee Sin one-trick for a very long time on the Flash Wolves. He had a great duo with Maple. The level 2 ganks on Faker were legendary. You still have to remember those things happening.
Oh, there we go. It's going to be a Jace pickup from RNG. Expecting, well, this can go top lane or the mid lane. You'd have to think it would be... I actually don't know what it would be. Where's it going to go, Clement? Oh, okay. They just raise it again. You go in from the Jace and you go in for a Yasuo, and that's going to be over to Doinby. So rare do you actually see a straight carry like this from Doinby.
Yeah, this is the first time that we're going to actually see Yasuo from him this season. I like the RNG swap, giving the Rise matchup into the Yasuo. Now, that is a favorable one for Rise. He can stun throughout the wind wall. And RNG, what they're setting up is they're saying, Rogue Warriors, we know your game plan. You're always trying to target our bot lane, but we're going to make sure that we can respond by having strong top side and strong mid lane duos.
Wow, let me also get his chance at the Jasons to the top lane, but I like it from both squads, pulling out something a little bit different in potentially our final game, as it's match point here to RNG heading into game 4. But Stake, let's see if his players can execute on the draft he's just constructed.
Insane wombo combo potential coming out from Rogue Warriors again. Every member aside from the Misfortune can provide a knockup.
That's true, yeah.
It's a lot of catch potential.
Yeah, there's a lot of catch potential. There's a lot of ways for Yasuo to find the perfect last breath as well into a team fight. The setup's there for the Misfortune. This time around doesn't have the Morgana alongside it though, so it will be a little bit harder for SMLZ to position. But I mean, again, the gloves are off. Like if you're gonna look for that perfect team fight, you have to just throw restraint to the wind and just go with what works.
Honestly, I feel like this is Rogue Warriors saying that, you know, in a player synergy situation, we probably cannot best RNG, but we'll try to best you with a character, champion synergy perspective. They have much better wombo combo combinations, and if they can ever catch out RNG in like a big 5v5 situation where RNG are not taking the initiative, they could instantly wipe the composition. There's a lot of fragile players on that team right now. The Lee Sin, the Jace, the Ryze, they're not going to survive a big burst of damage coming out from Rogue Warrior. So a fragile composition from RNG, but a lot of mastery on these picks that they've selected.
Yeah, a lot of ifs coming out from you, Clement, but remember this is Rogue Warriors, and it's a composition we see so often. It's just like it's not an if, it's a when they're going to attempt to go for those fights, because they will do it throughout this game. It's a Blood Moon on the Rift as we get into our fourth, potentially final game. Match point for RNG. We'll see if they can sweep them right here, or whether this can be the start of a comeback from Rogue Warriors. Literal legion of fans behind RNG. To be honest, they've probably been hiding in the rafters because all of this has been hosted out in Beijing, but here they come out in force.
That was also the loudest cheer we've heard for Rogue Warriors the entire day. They know that this could be the end right here.
They need their strength, they need their energy, and this is going to be 2 sets of Dark Harvests from the Misfortune and 1 on Castle on the Lee Sin as well in this game.
Been seeing quite a few Dark Harvests go down now that Electrocute was nerfed. Haro also took it yesterday, and what we should really notice is the level 2 kill potential. Doinby is not running Cleanse. So what I've seen from Karsa do before is that he will ward hop and then just deal the E for the extra slow and just kill someone like that.
Let me right here, dropping Mouse down to half. Also running him back to the minion wave as well. Yeah, you can't do that, Mouse. You can't. Oh. You can literally counter step to the minion wave side by side with Jace. He will punish you again at level 1.
It's a bit unfortunate from Mouse right there. Let's see if he has the minion wave pushing towards his side as well. Okay, at least that is going into his favor, so he doesn't need to worry much. He just needs to expend the teleport probably.
Yeah, Conqueror's right here from Let Me into this tank matchup, going for Taste of Blood as well in the early game sustain, but that was a massive misstep coming out from Mouse. There's no reason why Let Me would not punish that.
Yeah, and what could have happened right there is that the wave could have RNG'd and actually pushed toward Jace, and that would have been an absolute disaster for Mouse in the top lane. He does see Karsa, I believe. Yes, he does see spot Karsa.
Yeah. Spots him on the way past, but this is a big minion wave crashing. If Karsa couldn't at least turn him away, this is a level 1 Cho'Gath.
And Flawless is nowhere to be seen.
Connects the Q, and he has to run back to his inner turret right here. I mean, Karsa, it's time well spent to stop him from getting this minion wave. This is disastrous. Mouse doesn't even have a single minion right now.
How long is it going to take for him to actually get any CS? We finally see Flawless moving up to the front, but they can't even take the 2v2 at this point. Let me in. And Karsa could just stamp their throats in that position.
Yeah, they can stamp their authority. They're going to let Mouse step up to the minion wave, though. Let Me's on his way back. It's enough damage done for him, but it also draws Flawless to the top side. They know where the jungle is going to be, and RNG going to be happy with this massive amount of tempo they just opened up off of the first minion wave.
Yeah, a bit of a callous play from Mouse to take that position against a Jace matchup. That's probably one of the worst situations you could possibly find yourself in. He did leash for Flawless early on, and that was a great read from RNG. RNG's thought process was, Gragas, you're probably heading bot lane like you've always done and try to help out on keeping down Uzi. So we're just going to set up in this brush. We know that Mouse is most likely going to walk through this position, and that just level 1 cheese is putting that lane so far behind.
You know, I just love to see it as well from Let Me, a player who has often just played so many tanks. On the bottom side, lots of damage coming through. That piercing arrow is big from Uzi, but return fire out from Kalura as well. Drops the ignite down, saying back away from my AD carry. SMLZ stepping forwards as well into Ming. Lots of blows traded. No one's going to fall here. You always got to watch out for those double ups, though.
But it's so dangerous for Uzi because at his HP level, a flash from Kalua, if he doesn't respond in time, he's just dead.
The spotted Flawless over the wall. Yeah, what comes down from Ming, stopping this potential dive setup from Rogue Warriors. It's not going to happen in the end. Charging up Piercing Arrow, and actually Caster's moved towards the bottom side, so it will be a 3 versus 3 in the end. Deep ward out from Rogue Warriors, collapsing down onto Carter, in fact, still stopping him from safeguarding towards his allies. Kept in place, Ming flashing towards this one. Moving back towards his tower. Good save from Ming, but Rogue Warriors still pushing down to his bottom tower. Now in the jungle, 1 versus 1. Doinby and Xiaohu is already on top of his base though. This should go well over to the right. Should be able to kite this Yasuo for days.
Yep. Xiaohu just waiting for the most opportune moment when the wind wall was down and just walks back merrily. But that was a lot of summoners expended on RNG's side. You can see the flash not in for Ming. That makes him a prime gank target.
Xiaohu pushing up into mid lane, will walk towards top side. Flawless chasing after the flash, the body slam, pushing after. Ignite comes down, and Doinby wants this kill, but has to flash after this one. Q, auto attack, first blood to Rogue Warriors.
And subbing Flawless back into the roster pays off. Early gank, so much pressure onto RNG's bot side already. You know, Xiaohu was just a bit too far forward. He had the lane pushing into him, and the jungler was nowhere to be seen, so I honestly do see that as a little bit of a mistake from Xiaohu, stepping that far forward. Like, Lee Sin was definitely not going to assist on that play.
I mean, that's the first rung of the ladder that we had to see from Rogue Warriors. Get that first blood down. Top lane's not going well for you. Mouse is not winning this matchup, so you need something on the rest of the map, and you need it to be that big, high player, the clutch player in the mid lane. It's got to be Doinby.
A very clear focus coming in from from Rogue Warriors. Focus on the bot side, focus on the mid. Another gank coming.
Kahlua with the minion taxi right there. Floors from the side. Ming doesn't even get to Grey Health out of that one. Another kill to Rogue Warriors.
Perfect CC chain combination coming in. The WQ into the knock up from Flawless's Gragas. And that's what I was talking about. Like, Ming expended so much to get Karsa out of that situation. RNG basically have to forfeit the lane at this point.
RW pulling out all of the stops in this game. Super carry Doinby, remember, that's his name. And the bottom side, though, Kahlua making the plays. Again, a weak point historically from Rogue Warriors, stepping up in this crucial game.
So what we have to see is the reaction from RNG. How are they going to try to salvage their bot lane? Most of the time, we have seen them try to go into lane swaps, but great flash from Flawless here. Xiaohu overstepping. I think he should have room prisoned the Yasuo, but still probably was going to fall down nonetheless.
Yeah, still on top of his face with that flash. It would have been close, even on the backside, but about a wave or two advantage now to Doinby, plus the kill. Has gone for early boost to try and get in range with this guy, plus the Merc Treads feels really good for him. Top lane collapse though. Mouse is just having a bad day. He is caught in the mouse trap, and it's not his. Unfortunately, Karsa on the backside kicks him against the wall, locks him down the room. Prison simply walks away. It's too clean from RNG.
Doesn't matter at all. RNG still had the Silk Road built in towards Rogue Warriors' top side. That's going to be a 7-minute first tower.
All going over to Let Me as well. Drops
Someone
this
should pick
tower
up the
down.
gold.
It's not going to be anyone.
They're just afraid of the
yeah, because there's a collapse coming in actually from Kahlua into the bottom lane, kicks the Lee Sin away, but they're collapsing, finds the knock-up into Last Breath onto Let Me, gets the hammer blow, but in comes Flawless off to the side, zoning away help, and literally just gives over the kill over to Doinby. A fish in a barrel here, Let Me. No mana, no health, another kill to the super carry Doinby.
He does put a lot of damage on Doinby actually, so this should give time for Rise in the matchup to actually push up and look for another roam somewhere. I mean, even though it was a good play on RNG's side and Rogue Warriors came back, I still feel like Let Me played that pretty well, given the circumstances.
Played it as best as he could have done. But first tower over to RNG. Again, no local gold in that one, but Mouse gets him some much needed time to try and farm in this lane, because he is 4 minion waves behind Let Me. Unbelievably far behind this Cho'Gath. Only a Glacial Stratum boots to his name.
We're still waiting for the hype plays coming in from Karsa's Lee Sin. Finally does have the Dragon Rage.
That was a great setup on the top side. SMZ under attack, has to flash away from the Chain of Corruption. And Kahlua body blocking the rest of the skill shots coming through. Once again, we're seeing this Q-Max build out from SMLZ here. Rogue Warriors, a lot of their gold is on the mid lane, on the jungle. On this duo, Xiaohu pushing up once again onto Doinby. Playing towards top side, and Flawless on a control ward. He knows he can go for this one. Doinby dashing forwards, looking for this knock-up. Didn't find it. There it is! Last breath! And it will be Xiaohu who's another kill to the mid lane.
And just the damage coming out from the combination. Flawless is a first-time Gragas, but it doesn't look like it. A lot of comfort coming in from this combination, and This is just the advantage we were talking about of not having to go to Asian games. You're going to have a lot more time to actually practice these special combos.
Yeah, combos and this clutch pick coming in at the very end of the draft right here. We've never seen this before from Doinby. We know him for the tanks. We see him for, at the maximum, we see like a Cassiopeia and the Rise. That's as far into the mages or the carries we'll ever see from him. But comes out the Yasuo, knows how to combo with us with Floss. He's going to have Mouse later into the game, and Kahlua, we've already seen it. But Rogue Warriors, I mean, this is what we needed to see. If there's anything left in the tank, and there certainly is in this matchup.
Yeah, we were definitely talking about the specialty picks that Rogue Warriors could potentially pull out. 2 special picks we've never seen this split, paying off dividends for them.
SMLZ getting access, turned around with a bullet time. It's going to be the gobble up from Ming, but he wants to push forwards because he knows the jungle is coming in. Ming gets the kill, flash away from Uzi. Flash after, barrel comes through, explosive cast for the kill. Knocked against the wall though, and this is going to be a cleanup time for RNG. They get 1, they get 2. Now they're looking at Kahlua. They want beef on this menu. Sidesteps the overload, but Ming tanking the tower, and it comes Lee Sin. Casa claims his 3rd.
And the double kill coming in. That was a great realm orb onto the back for Rogue Warriors. A 4v2 situation to start the fight out. It looked really, really close for Uzi, but you knew RNG was going to come in once SMLZ burned his flash earlier on. Just the execution for Ming. Walk up, finishes the kill. Uzi survives until the last moment, and there's nothing to push RNG members away after the cast was suspended.
Yeah, only the 1 frag right there from Rogue Warriors. This is so expertly played as well. This dive underneath the tower. Kahlua locks on with the Lee Sin. Going to be another kill. 3 kills in this Lee Sin at this point in time. Has got the Skirmishers, the Warriors, and the Tiamat. This is a full damage early game Lee Sin. He was going to hit like an absolute truck.
Yeah, now he can really go into Flawless's jungle and try to hunt for him at this point. He's also gone for the Tiamat, which does speed his build up a little bit. You sacrifice a bit of damage, but then you get more CS later on as the game goes. So if you're fed, and 3-0 I would consider very fed, that's actually a great item build.
And this is the given right here. If you were expecting anything less from these 2 teams, if you thought it was going to be equal, it was going to be slow in the early portions of the game, you were wrong, because it's Rogue Warriors and RNG. Down to the wire, they will always fight until their last breath.
And Rogue Warriors, they actually sunk a lot of ban pick resources into getting their bot lane ahead, taking away the Gragas, picking up the Misfortune once again, and the early jungle path.
Backing down, goes over to Rogue Warriors. Uzi stepping up to the plate. Next dragon's going to be Infernal. Important dragon's going to be spawning in the early portions of this game. Floss also gets complete control over the bottom side, clearing away all of those wards. Mid lane, though, Mouse and Doinby versus the challengers. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, same thing, 2 versus 2. Kahlua goes for the initiate, saved by Ming, and the turnaround as the teleport comes down. Kahlua getting slowed out right here with the hail of arrows as well. Late ultimate, but he will be able to walk away from this, and now it's Gragas having a bad day, just locked in place. Dashes away to his AD carry, and Chaohu pushing forward, see if he can find another Rune Prison. Not going to be the case.
Rogue Warriors really need to get Doinby into the fight. He's the only positive member up. Flawless is as well, but they really need his power spike and the wombo combo to come in for them. If they're finding fights anywhere else than Doinby, I don't think they win it.
Trying to put up fires right now. And again, we're going to be looking towards these team fights for Rogue Warriors, and so far, they are behind in terms of gold, but not by much. That's going to make a huge difference. Sneaks towards the mid lane there, Doinby, so not caught out by a sneaky Lee Sin who was sat in the brush. He's a monk, not a rogue. Casa clearing up the rest of the wards in the bottom side of River. Just going to sneak a look at the next dragon. It's going to be Infernal. And Rogue Warriors back to a bit of equilibrium. A bit of calm before the storm, but again, a must-win for them heading into this. If RNG win, it will be confirmed for Worlds. Not the seed, but it will be locked into contention for Worlds. They will have one of those slots.
The next question for RNG is, where are they going to drop the Herald? Still 90 seconds left on that buff. It would also open a big opportunity for Rogue Warriors to have a defensive play as well. If someone is sieging on your towers, they're usually grouped up, and it's a great time to hit them with the wombo combo. So that's going to be the next flashpoint on the map.
You do expect that to be the case. First item is being picked up across the board, however. You're looking towards that Phantom Dancer from Doinby. First item out from the mid lane. Archangel Staff double blade the Rune Kings coming in from Let Me and Uzi. They're going to be able to nuke down objectives if they get the opportunity. You know, plays like pushing towards the Baron and rushing it down actually suddenly become quite attractive for the RNG roster.
And that's just so much damage targeted at Mouse. A 4-man sneaking into this bot lane. A 3-man, sorry.
Feels like 4-man. I mean, Kaz has 2 fists. Kahlua getting slowed down. SMLZ shoots out the Q. Not finding purchase just yet. Kaz probably going to be backing away from this one. Yeah, ward was already there as well from Rogue Warrior, so wouldn't have turned that into anything in the end. Kaz just shows himself, takes out that ward, moves up river, but it's really just set up, again, as you mentioned, for the next objective, which should be around this dragon.
So I think RNG are actually delaying the group push, and they're just trying to chip towers down one by one. They do have advantages in terms of their jungler, in terms of their bot lane, so they're willing to take the towers a bit slower and just ride out the CS leads.
I'd expect them to make a push in the next 30 seconds or so. Herald's just being placed down right now, actually, from Casa. There it is into the mid lane. I'd be surprised if they just didn't do anything with it. Ming grouping up into the mid lane with the rest of his team. Setting up for this charge. A relatively healthy tower, though. Going to be, unfortunately, that will not stop Shelly. But we'll be able to clear out the rest of the minion wave, though. So it's not going to be the tower take, though. Just drop it very low.
RNG have perfect vision set around this push. They back out as soon as Mouse arrives to the battlefield. They don't want to look for the 5v5. That's the only way they give up their early game advantage. And they just go back to farming after getting the temple lead from grouping mid.
Casa, straight on vision right here. In fact, all of RNG is. Rogue Warriors looking for their own counter push, now pushing into the jungle bot lane. Undefended though, they might be able to make the rotation down there. Xiaohu does have his ultimate, however, so they will be able to round warp towards the area if Rogue Warriors trying to force it. Top lane though, Jogaf still just on struggle streak, and on that streak with him is a big old bully. It's let me on this Jace, about 45 farm ahead. Goes for the early Blade of the Ruin King. It's the Tam Kench though, cutting off SMLZ over the wall, and there's Carter, flash kick against the wall, executed. And Flawless trying to wobble away from this fight. I don't know what Gragas does, I don't know how he gets out of a fight, but it's not like that. That's 2 kills onto Rogue Warriors.
And RNG, just with their semi-global tools, are able to catch Rogue Warriors out again. They're just so adept at using these. And I feel like Rogue Warriors, they hesitated to commit to the tower. Like, they were looking to push it, but their members were also very split at the same time. Doinby was already trying to go back to defend the mid. And when RNG are freed in these type of rotations, you have to full commit to every single move you make. You can't really split out and hope RNG shows themselves one by one.
Yeah, this is one of those games as well where it's just Casa versus the world. When you pick the Lee Sin, it's a declaration that's like, I will either snowball the early game or we lose. And we've seen this already out of Klid. We saw it against their opponents as well. It's just like these baits of instant Lee Sin pick, but now the collapse into the bottom lane. Kahlua chases after, gets the knock back into the final breath right there. Casa saved there from Ming, chases him back to the tower. Kahlua can't get in range. And again, the Tam Kench comes up safe.
And this is why Ming will pick Tahm Kench even after all the nerfs. He always shows up in the nick of time. An ultimate expended from Doinby, Ignite going down, still can't find the kill. That must be so frustrating.
Yeah, he was the one to deliver him actually into the bottom lane, so they knew he was there. But SMLZ gets caught out, wrong side of the wall, wrong side of town.
Yeah, 5-man collapse. He was trying to push the wave in solo. You really can't do that when RNG have so many global abilities.
Can instantly get behind Abyssal Void, and the Round Warp will do just that. But again, Casa having a phenomenal game 4 here, 4 and 0 in fact. Still going towards straight damage. I mean, he can just do this all day, to be honest. He's still ahead of the curve by a long shot. And who's going to stop him, really? I mean, like, Cho'Gath is just having a bad day. Gragas is going to be the one with his ultimate, but he's not going to stand in front. His squishy targets, the squishy damage dealers, are the one that he's after in these skirmishes.
But at some point, they're going to have to face Doinby.
Flash after, double knocker comes in, last breath. But again, Ming just with the save. You can't get past him.
And another ultimate wasted by Doinby. He still can't get anything. I sense desperation coming out from this combination. Doinby started the laning phase out so well, but RNG danced around him constantly, always finding picks outside of his range.
And we talked about the pick potential out from Rogue Warriors in Champions League. Like, this looks fantastic. The setup's there from Yasuo. But if Tahm Kench is anywhere near the area, he's just going to save the target. Your first target actually just has to be the Tahm Kench to prevent him from saving anyone else on this roster. Because even though it's relatively squishy across the board, no one has really felt threatened in these fights.
In RNG, they're just always taking the first foot forward. And with that type of play and situation, Rogue Warriors, they just can't find any of the combinations. They're finally going to get their last breath off. This is the big fight they're going to be looking for.
Doesn't get the smite down, and now he's completely by himself, getting ripped apart. Will move away from the fight, but the rest of the team moving in there. Let me on the backside, flashing over the wall, and Karsa, critical HP as well. Join B, finished off by the shock blast. Another save out from Ning right there as they clean up the rest of the fight. A 1-for-3. Here comes the Abyssal Voice, looking for that slowdown flash after. Sidestep out from SMLZ. He looks to turn around, knock up right there, but another collapse.
4.
Everyone stayed there, everyone's in the round up, but connects the Q. Karsa with his 5th.
And RNG just with a beautiful chase down. It doesn't matter. Rogue Warriors hard committed onto killing Uzi. They sent everything at him, got the feast down, but they couldn't finish off the fight. Ming once again saving the low health members away from Rogue Warriors. I applaud Rogue Warriors. They had to take that fight. They had to make use of the Yasuo and the last breath. But unfortunately, outplayed once again by RNG.
And the crowd just goes absolutely ballistic for RNG, getting a huge fight and a huge fight win here. Take the dragon and then kill multiple members of RW, and it looked good for a second. I actually thought we were going to have the turnaround.
Yeah, it did look extremely good. It looked like Lemme and Uzi were going to fall down at the start of the fight right away. Karsa was low as well, but Xiaohu with the cleanup ability and just the low health members unable to fall down on RNG's side. We're talking about wombo combo. You need to land multiple targets with that, and they could only find the singles.
That round wall coming out there. It's like, you're not going anywhere, buddy. SMLZ, you sit down. Going to be another kill into this misfortune. No real way to get access into these fights and lay down a bullet time at all.
I love how bloodthirsty that realm warp was as well, because if you're playing it safe, you send 2 forward and 2 close in from the back. They were all in.
Uzi right there. Looks like Xiao, who's been stealing some of his fans, actually dropped his percentage from the first time we saw him. But Xiao, who's had some real big plays in this series. RW, not going to be dissuaded. 6,000 gold down, still pushing up the mid lane, staying out on the map, preventing RNG to easily go towards big objectives like the Baron, which has just spawned 22 minutes now. Something to be contesting. And of course, you've got to have multiple Infernals. It's in the script for a match point game here for RNG. For them to punch in their ticket to Worlds, it's got to be multiple Infernals.
That's just the RNG luck working out for them. But for Rogue Warriors, in this type of composition, it's less about the gold lead and more about the target selection. Uzi in the last fight didn't get to cast anything before he fell down. They could repeat that fight once more. So RNG, they still have to play incredibly carefully when they're grouped up against Rogue Warriors.
And Mouse, not being a good day, but he's finally picked up his first item. He's got his Righteous Glory moving towards the second now. It's starting to get tankier. Be able to move towards those fights, but SMLZ has not found any way into this one. 0 and 5 collectively in this bottom lane.
Getting punished so hard by Karsa and the Realm Warp. Rogue Warriors, they have to contest the second Infernal Drake, but the question is, how will they actually do it? They can use Mouse to force their way through the jungle. They're going to be very slow at it. The side lanes are still pushing for RNG.
I mean, you're looking at a multi-man knockup into a last breath. I mean, that's your way into a fight. But all these are relatively small knockups outside of Flawless landing a cast to start us off right here. So it's difficult to get the last breath onto more than 1 or 2 targets. And by that point, the rest of the team's like, all right, if Ming isn't caught up in the last breath, he just swallows the target, runs away. And actually, Rogue Warriors, it's hard for them to, as you said, find that fight, to lay all of the CC and all the damage they have on top of that, because SMLZ, theoretically in the choke point near Dragon, should be perfect. Lay down the bullet time, but Karsa's always finding his way into the backside, and this is a Lee Sin who is significantly ahead of the curve.
Oh, this Lee Sin could one-shot.
He will. Yeah.
SMLZ quite easily.
He's got the most gold in the game.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Damn.
Almost 10,000 gold on this Lee Sin. He's 5-0 too. It's difficult for him not to have the most gold in the game.
Yeah, I do want to see his build. Like, we have seen Karsa actually go for the Dustblade when he played back in the LMS.
He went for Knight's Vow. He was a good Lee Sin. He was a supportive team player here.
You're playing with Uzi. You have to change your build. You have to build defensively.
I'll give you this. Maybe his next item will be Dustblade. Maybe. We'll see. But it's at the point in time where you want to have a little bit of tanky stats on the Lee Sin. But if you keep finding purchase onto the backline, onto SMLZ, then your job is essentially done. You know, you take down the major damage source of the team.
And he doesn't even have to get to the backline. He could kick someone into SMLZ,
That's true,
and that would be enough. But there's a lot of opportunities for outplays on Karsa, and I really like what Rogue Warriors was trying to do in the bot lane. They were trying to get to the Dragon Pit with a pick onto Xiaohu. Now, if that worked, that would open their space up to the river. But the thing is that they're getting 1-3-1 so hard that a lot of times Yasuo can't even make the time to get to those picks.
Now we've got about a minute to go until that dragon. We're thinking about all the theoreticals, the setups, how it can actually go. But in reality, we know it's all about the execution. How are the teams actually going to do in the moment when the pressure is on them? RNG never really going to crack underneath that pressure. Not players like this.
Should just be a pretty standard setup coming from RNG. Ring the blue buff with wards. Make sure to catch out any Rogue Warriors member that walks in.
Yeah, don't be up to top side. Doesn't have the teleport though, and with Dragon spawning in 20 seconds, I don't know if he's actually going to go down there. He's at the very least going to keep someone up there with him, but we have 2 teleports from RNG. They could just skirt around him. If he wants to contest this, he'll have to start moving right now.
He is going down. I feel like they have to. This is not a combination that's going to get better with time.
It's not, and especially when it's an Infernal Dragon potentially going over to RNG, the second one of the game. You do not want to get this one over for free. Uzi sat in the mid lane, just farming on up. In a last meal right here before the fight will open up around the dragon. You know it's going to happen. And it's being sought off by Rogue Warriors. They want RNG to come to them.
Multiple teleports ready for RNG, but it looks like they're willing to give this up. There's no view of Let Me actually trying to teleport.
No,
so RNG are playing this incredibly safe.
Yeah, they're actually just consolidating their lead. They had a 6,000 gold advantage. It's going to be another Infernal, of course it is. Top wave pushed in. It's going to be a lot of damage onto the tower, but Rogue Warriors are quickly collapsing. Karsa in the jungle trying to beat them to this punch. It's going to drop this tower. Yeah, Floor's coming around the side, though, choosing not to go for it. He sees the Lee Sin, meets him square in the eyes. So it will be a tower trade for the Dragon, but yeah, RNG choosing not to engage.
That's insanely calm play from RNG. Usually in the LPL, if it was like JD Gaming, you go all in on that play. Because that play should favor RNG, but it would also be the only comeback opportunity for Rogue Warriors.
So just finds a short play, which is a top lane tower, gives you even more gold over to your side, and there's no chance of Rogue Warriors coming back into this game from that one play. It will maybe help them in the future, and Infernal Dragon's always going to be nice, but RNG choose to play it safe. They say, okay, you know, this is that tempered aggression we see out from this team. It's not just mindless aggression, which you're right. I think we have a lot of teams in the LPL who they see this as like, we've got to fight. It's in the blood race. It's in our contracts. You know, we've got to go in there.
Read the small print.
Yeah, exactly.
Must flash every time it's up.
I mean, that's in LWX's small print 100%. But top lane, Rogue Warriors will get a tower of their own. Looks like no defense coming in from RNG, but they are setting up around the mid lane.
I have to say this would be a favorable trade if Xiao was able to take down this tower. It just gives him so much more split pushing room where they can put Lemmy in this lane.
Yep, and Mouse doesn't really want to push up to that tower against Xiao, who doesn't want to meet anybody, to be honest, in a lane across from him. So tower trade, advantage again to RNG cross map.
And Rogue Warriors, they sunk a lot of cash into warding up this Baron pit, but RNG are going to slowly take that one back. In fact, they're just going to
starting it off. I mean, they have double bladed the Rune King. They can shred this one down. Rogue Warriors, are they in position? They have an inkling this is happening. Ming over the wall. He's chasing back Flawless. They're now disengaging from the Baron. Has to force the flash there from the TK.
Yeah, a little bit aggressive from RNG. Flawless is actually already in position.
Oh. I mean, is it over-aggressive when your Ryzer's just bodying the Cho'Gath in bottom lane?
Guess not. The Cho'Gath has been so preoccupied with building armor defense just to survive against Lutmi, and then you just switch it up and send Xiao at him.
Yeah,
the classical 1-3-1 strategy.
And that was really working out from RNG. It's so difficult for this guy even to step up. He just came back from base and he's below 50% HP already. This Ryze will either kill him or take the tower. Rogue Warriors have to do something.
They have to choose. Are they going to go back and defend their bottom lane inhibitor?
It's gone. This tower is dead. In a 1 versus 1, Xiao who comes up big. The Summer Tiger comes in.
Yeah, they're just going to swoop in.
RNG just taking everything across the board, and Rogue Warriors straight up caught with their pants down. The call was not made. One of the few times from Rogue Warriors you look at them and they're not making an instant snap call. They're just caught in two minds, trying to open up to the mid lane though. Kahlua sees an opportunity, Let Me flashes away.
Not enough members to follow up on that Rogue Warriors play here, but once again, RNG take control of the Baron pit. It's going to force Rogue Warriors to sweep this entire section. And that's a lot of gold wasted, and they can do this over and over again. They're always going to have the 4-1 lead in that matchup. Just look at the build from Mouse. There is no MR.
It's literally nothing. It's just health and just armor. Looking at SMLZ, he's gone for early penetration actually in form of the last Whisper item because there's just a lot of armor across the board. Shock Blast spotting out Flawless. That's 4 Ninja Tabis actually on the side of RNG, plus multiple Guardian Angels, 3 Guardian Angels from RNG. They are so set and ready for this next fight.
Yeah, Doinby's going to have a very hard time finding the next kill, but Rogue Warriors are doing what they do best. They're forcing 5v5.
Right now, while RNG are split up, Casa trying to get back towards the Tam Kench. Safeguards towards him. Rogue Warriors can't find the kill, can't find the pick right here, but they clear out the vision.
Look at Xiaohu. He's already going for the split push pressure once more. Rogue Warriors, all of their members were spotted.
I mean, there's nothing left on the bot side, really, apart from the inhibitor. He's pushing up onto this inner tower. Flashes forward, look for the assassinate! Almost one shot to SMLZ. Kahlua there with the protection, but now rotating into the mid lane. Flawless caught out. He'll flash away, but in comes Ming from the backside. No one expects the Tam Kench. Clutch wall coming up there, out from Doinby, but he ticks down from the Ignite.
And what a great ring around the rosy play coming from RNG. No one expects the sudden Xiaohu to be hiding in the shadows right there. A risky play from him for sure, but he does get rewarded very well. There was a chance that he would be running into multiple members of Rogue Warriors coming through that choke point.
I mean, he was frankly just hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
He was just stood in front of the tower and
Xiaohu
just
baited
someone to go towards him. The Baron is still falling rapidly. Mouse stepping up, but he is not tanky right now. He's dropped below third, but here comes the bullet time. The wombo combo's on. As the full channel. Xiaohu to the back lines, looks towards SMLZ, but he's trying to clean up right now. Multiple Guardian Angels taken off the board, and Kahlua pushing towards them, but it's not enough from Rogue Warriors. RNG come up big, 4 kills.
And they trade 1 for 4 to finish off the entire team fight. Xiaohu started that in such a bad position, standing straight on top of a ward. It doesn't matter. The rest of the members from RNG are way too far ahead. It was a great wombo combo, and the only time that Rogue Warriors composition actually worked as it was intended to, but they still couldn't pull it off 5v4.
One shot, one opportunity. The zone comes in. 3 members across the wall. Instant blast cone. Get Flawless out of here. Chase him down. Kill him. Stop the smite opportunity. And Casa, just with a little bit of help over the wall, will finish off the Baron.
And that's a delayed quadra kill coming in from Xiaohu. Hero plays one after the other. RNG, when you give them map control, there's just nothing that they can't do.
In this fight, once again, Mouse pushing forwards. I mean, this was the best setup you could possibly hope for. Access with the last breath into a full channel of the bullet time.
Yeah, and you could see the back line really melting towards the pressure, but Xiaohu is just too big. He evades the bullet time, walks toward SMLZ, and there's just nothing he can do at that point.
RNG smell blood in the water. Look at that damage. 7,500 damage from the Rise in that last fight. Just rips apart the backline. Looks at SMLZ and is like, I'll take your support instead. I'll take anybody who comes near me. And right now, RNG can smell blood in the water. They smell RW's blood in the water, and they smell the World Championship at their doorstep right now. They can just avoid the regionals entirely. RNG right now are just coming for that championship.
Yeah, and of course they will be looking towards the first seed in China, trying to evade KT Gaming. That's what everyone wants to evade. But a secure slot here would give them so much more confidence up against their upcoming matches.
They're so far ahead in this game. I mean, outside of a literal miracle, I don't see how Rogue Warriors come back into this game. Double Infernals over to RNG, 13,000 gold advantage. Mid lane just finished 4th item coming in. Uzi's big, but it's not even about Uzi in this game. You're looking towards that mid-jungle duo.
And this is the same duo that Flash Wolves ran to face up against SKT, just the dueling power. And if you think about the backline potential as well, it's so difficult for Rogue Warriors to set up that wombo combo that they're looking for. Xiaohu could just teleport into the backline, and he's going to take an inhibitor himself.
Literally just stares them down and is just like, I'm just going to take this if that's okay, but they just move into the mid lane, see if RW can find this fight right now. Mouse pushing forward to the Righteous Glory while Xiaohu is still split up, doesn't take the teleport into the fight. Rogue Warriors exposed though, out of their base, away from the towers, away from the Sanctum.
They're toying with Rogue Warriors at this point. You can see SMLZ instantly backs off once the Realm Ward comes down.
Into the top lane, they potentially get a pick right here onto Let Me. They do manage to take the Jace down while he was hitting the tower, but in the mid lane, again, it took everyone to collapse, and RNG will still get a tower.
There are no flashes for follow-ups on Rogue Warriors. I still think that was a small misstep from RNG. They could have gone more in that situation.
And that one kill will buy a little bit of time here for Rogue Warriors, but time is all they'll get. Because you're right, goal lead extends. The tangibles are down. Bottom inhibitor dead. Mid lane inhibitor tower dropped while that was all resources expended from Rogue Warriors just for a single kill.
The amount of flashes and righteous glories to follow that up were staggering. And I really like what Rogue Warrior did. Actually, you could see that they put the righteous glory, they staggered it. So the movement speed buff didn't reduce on top of itself. So it was really well thought out. They saw the 1-3-1. They were going for the 3-man. They did everything right. Just too far behind at this point.
Yeah, and Rogue Warriors, I mean, they have been in this position so many times, and so many times they just come out of that one win. It's just like, okay, Rogue Warriors, all right, this is your MO, this is how you win games. But against RNG, who have proven over this set that their tricks won't work against us, your sucker punches, your coming in with those surprise attacks and tactics just doesn't work. We are better in the moment, we are better players, we can make these fights happen. And Rogue Warriors are going to have to pull something real special out of the bag. What else have they got left?
And RNG are trying to close the noose with the 1-3-1 once more. Someone has to respawn to Rise in the top lane. That inhibitor tower is almost down.
Flows back from base. Picking up everything they can for a potential last fight. Really, one fight could just end this one right now. Elder's going to be the next dragon on the board. Baron will be spawning about 3 minutes from now. Pushing in the waves, constantly keeping this one pushed up. Inhibitor still down.
What Rogue Warriors should be looking for is a quick kill on one of these side lane split pushers. If they can get that and then rotate to defend their base, it should be the best scenario, I should say, that they could get out of this situation.
I mean, there's that, but also with the caveat of, but don't use too many resources all at the same time, because if you do, then you lose an inhib, then you lose something on the cross map, you know? It's like Rogue Warriors, that's the plan, but you've got to do it beyond perfectly.
Rogue Warriors' chances out of finals comes down to this defense.
And Rogue Warriors, they're literally cursing RNG as much as they can. If they just lost against JD, they would have had free access. But here they are, staring them down right now in the palace, in the throne room. RNG with the Beijing crowd behind them. I mean, yes, you're right. This is the loudest I've ever heard the Rogue Warriors chant come out. But they're met with a legion of RNG fans. There's over 600, 700, I would wager, in the stadium right now, looking for this team to take Worlds.
And RNG are just playing so slow and measured. They're throwing different takes at Rogue Warriors. First it was the 4-1, it was a 1-3-1, and then they suddenly group as 5, instantly take down the inhibitor. Rogue Warriors have to make up their minds. The last inhibitor should be where they make their stand.
And RNG can wait. They've got deep vision, they've got 2 inhibitors down. Baron's up in a minute, Elder's up in a minute. They can play around these major objectives. They don't need to finish right now. They don't need to make any ballsy plays. We've seen from them already in this game, they are willing to give up in the short term to make sure that there is no chance in the long term that Rogue Warriors find a miraculous fight, find a comeback, finds a random 20% play they turn into a 70% play.
In 2017, I remember at Worlds, Frost was talking about the macro deficiencies coming from the LPL region, but this year has been such a market year for growth in that category. People are willing to play slow, they're willing to drag fights out, they're looking at the highest percentage plays.
High percentage plays and pure confidence coming out from RNG as well. I mean, every time you see this A roster play, they haven't lost a single game so far in playoffs. They had to start in quarterfinals as well. Wasn't like RNG were just straight in at semis. That was Rogue Warriors. The honor went over to Rogue Warriors and Invictus Gaming. It was RNG and EDG had to work their way up. One organization already fell. The flagship's down. RNG, honestly, just look unscathed, undaunted.
And they're just going to take another safe play, going for the Elder once more. Not trying to force things, not trying to rush things. RNG, they do have the 12th longest game time in the LPL. They're very comfortable for dragging these games out late. But on the flip side,
Rogue Warriors rushing down the Baron. They see the Elder being taken. Is there anyone to contest? Or Abyssal Void's coming after. And they're not burning this particularly fast. It's down to 4,000 HP. Over the wall, in comes Garza. He finds the steal! Rogue Warriors trying to turn this one around. Casa is out. Xiaohu may not be so lucky. By some time. Ming stepping up. Can he find a save? No, he can't. But he takes one with him. Meanwhile, in the base, Let Me versus the big old Cho'Gath. Can he mount this defense? Because meanwhile, Rogue Warriors are taking all the scraps they can. But the recalls being stopped. Mouse pushed onto the tower. Drops him in between the towers.
He wins the trade, but also in the meantime, SMLZ does go down. It's a 2v2 scenario right in front of the Nexus.
Uzi and Let Me, the two-man duo, looks for the last breath onto the AD carry, but Dormi's down for the count. In comes Mouse, trying to defend the carry on the team right now. Flows from the backside, flash forwards, lockdown once again, but Mouse, he's in the dust. Casa, Ming, everyone bringing up the rear, and RNG, they're looking for the Nexus, and all will kneel before the one true monarchy of the LPL.
RNG at the last moments, they win it with style. Karsa once again with a Baron steal. Has been starting that since All-Stars. It delays the enhanced back coming in from Rogue Warriors. There's no chance for them to defend that. And just the look on Doinby's face. He started this game at 15 minutes with 3 kills under his belt. He was set up to carry, but RNG dance around him. They evade every single fight that he could have possibly attempted to.
And what a way for RNG to lock down Worlds. Don't have the C's just yet, but they are going to be representing China.
Everyone was expecting this outcome, but it was still an arduous journey. Every single series they have dropped games. They haven't looked as sharp in regular split. They would have finished third if not for the last day. But RNG at the final moment still living up to their name, still living up to that golden ear dream that they set for themselves.
Honestly, it was just a road bump. That's what it looked like right here. Rogue Warriors, you know, a team who looked like hopefuls moving into a potential finals. It looked like the time for Rogue Warriors to rise. But RNG, they see the dynasty fall in EDG, but the monarchy itself will hold on strong.
There's going to be a new head that rises in the LPL. The day of EDG has probably ended. They still have a chance to go through Worlds, but they have a long way ahead of them. And for Rogue Warriors, I feel like they can hold their heads up high. This is the first year of the organization. To take the first spot out of a conference and take it in such a close series against RNG is nothing to scoff at. There's so many good plays being thrown out by Rogue Warriors. Their style held true. Their 5v5, their Fright Train. But in the end, RNG just outplayed them in the team fights over and over again.
40 minutes exactly, clean from RNG. But yeah, I definitely have to give a moment to RW because there's still a shot, right? Like the top 5 are locked into either going to Worlds or at least going to Regionals. There is a chance that they can still make it. And Rogue Warriors, I just need to see them after this entire year of setup not look deflated. I mean, that's the first time I've really seen a sad face on Doinby in any circumstance. And we saw this exact same story when Rogue Warriors went up against Invictus Gaming, where Invictus Gaming just looked crushed. You know, coming into that matchup up against RNG, takes it all the way down to the wire, then moving down into the 3rd place match itself. And that they just crumbled, you know, mentally. Rogue Warriors ended up taking 3rd, and that gave them more momentum moving into summer. But can they hold on? Because that was a crushing defeat right there, and it was a long time in the making. This was happening out from week 10, where it was just like, we can make it. This can be a free run. Then RNG, you know, happen to win that matchup. They move on. Then they have to face RNG themselves. Then they lose this matchup in a 4-game set.
But Rogue Warriors, this is the best that they have looked in a playoff setting. In Spring Split, they didn't look so clean against BLG. They had a really rough time against EDG. And even against Invictus Gaming, it felt like Rookie just wasn't there anymore. But, you know, they showcased to me that they can play a clean BO5. They can make great plays underneath pressure. So this is massive growth from Rogue Warriors, and it gives us a lot of hope for the Rift rival teams that we've put forward to represent the LPL.
Yeah, because frankly, if Rogue Warriors play like that against any other team who could potentially be qualifying for Worlds in the regional qualifiers, they will just straight up win. That was just so good. I mean, there's only one team in the LPL who could possibly beat them. We saw the evidence on screen right there. It's RNG. I mean, again, if they were on the other side of the bracket, they would be looking at a clean run right now all the way to finals. But again, RNG, though, congratulations to them. They take a World Seed. Don't know which one's going to be right now, but they're not going to be through qualifiers. It will be either on points or just making the run straight through playoffs.
And looking forward, this is going to be a consecutive finalist appearance for RNG. On the other side of the bracket, however, they still have to wait for the results between Invictus Gaming and JD Gaming. Now, Invictus Gaming, they've always triumphed against JD Gaming in terms of the BO3s. JD Gaming has 0 wins against them, but coming into playoffs and down the stretch, you have to say that JD Gaming are looking incredibly terrifying.
Now, here's the storyline, Clement. It's going to be JD potentially making the run through Invictus Gaming, the team who has historically been the kryptonite to RNG, only being stopped at the final hurdle in week 11 in summer. And they could be facing RNG in the finals. What a storyline that would be. RNG, though, advancing a 3-1 victory today in the semifinals against Rogue Warriors. The same in the quarterfinals versus TOP. But yeah, it's about tomorrow. It's going to be Invictus Gaming versus JD. Invictus Gaming obviously come in as the favorites, but so did EDG.
JD Gaming, they cannot go to Worlds on points, even if they emerge victorious against Invictus Gaming, but it would be a massive blow to IG. Like, IG has not shown great performances in terms of high-pressure situations and playoffs. So that match there's going to be a lot of eyes looking on it, and I don't think it's going to be a clean 3-0 for Invictus Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, it could not be a worse feeling, right? Like, they were meant to be the chosen ones coming in to the spring split. They were strongest in regular season. They move into the playoffs. They collapse. The Shy has his hand injury. They have to bring in Duke at the last minute. And then you move into the third-place match. They lose the third-place match. Now coming into summer, the potential for them to lose another game, I don't know if a team recovers from that within the space of a few weeks to a few months or whatever it is moving into World. I don't think that happens. You look towards the next season. You look towards the next split. So such an important match coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of eyes on that, and really this is such a new era from the LPL. We're seeing EDG fall out before the semifinals is something that's never happened before. RNG showing dominance, and then we have these other teams that are also showing up in these playoffs. That you have multiple strong teams going up against it, and they all look pretty similar. Like, this is the golden age, I would say, for the LPL right now. Franchising has brought up so many good teams across the league. Aside from maybe W, I think every team has gotten stronger and stronger over the split.
Yeah, honestly, the script feels too perfect for the LPL right now as we move into potential worlds. Let's take a look at the championship points, because you were just talking about it. JD, if they make the run right here, they would just straight up auto-qualify, but on points, it's going to be difficult. They'll have to move then into the regionals, which is going to happen pretty much regardless. Invictus Gaming, though, they're right at the bottom. This is a very tough run for a lot of these teams down here to either straight up win the finals or go through the qualifiers.
But the important thing is that we definitely know which 5 teams will at least make it to the qualifiers. Those are your top 5 teams. They're guaranteed to be there. TOP, unfortunately, they will not have that chance to actually show up. We're only talking about the big top 5. EDG still have a shot at it, though they will place fairly low because of their point totals down. They're already behind Rogue Warriors in this, and if JD Gaming can pull out something of a win tomorrow, they will leapfrog that as well.
And you talk about a golden era, but this is also a new era. You know, it's like, it's not the old organizations. It's not EDG or RNG really who are at the forefront. RNG will maybe taking #1, but right behind them, who is it? It's not EDG. You know, it's potentially an Invictus Gaming, like, rookie making Worlds is just super hype on its own. You look towards potential Rogue Warriors. Hell, even if JD just come in at the final moment as the dark horses and just manage to overtake them, just super, super cool to see.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of good talent butting heads with each other. And tomorrow, I think the key matchup we're looking for is definitely going to be Rookie versus Yagao. Yagao, the most banned player in Spring Split, is good on so many champions versus the lane god himself in Rookie. Faker who? Get out the way. Now, this is the true lane kingdom. He's not sitting no bench.
Yeah, I mean, this is it, really. Rookie, straight up, like, we talk about it every single split. I feel like Rookie's been here. Best mid laner.
Yeah.
Like, you talk to any other mid laner in the league, and it's like, who do you want to play up against? Who's the man to beat? It's Rookie. Unanimously every single time. I know Icon's been coming after Rookie's name for the longest time. Can't take it. And up against Yagao, I was in his court up against Scout. I mean, 100%. It was just like, that's the contentious issue between him in the mid lane against EDG. But it is a completely different ballgame when you look at Rookie. Scout may have been having the best year of his career, and that's a real high bar.
Yeah.
But Rookie, he's never missed a beat.
Definitely, and he's just willing to play so many different champions, willing to go all in on the laning phase. He throws compositions out of the way. He just wants to win the lane, and really that is how Invictus Gaming has been defeating JD Gaming. The bot lane has been triumphing. Yep. The mid lane has won out tremendously. Rookie has never had a chance to, Yagao's never had a chance to roam against Rookie.
Yep.
And it's just complete shutdown for JD Gaming. So a real uphill battle, and they're going to have to pull out some new things if they are going to trump the 18-1 Invictus Gaming from Summer Split.
Now, we do have some final paperwork to be signed off on. That is the man of the match, and I'll be going over to Karsa. Congratulations, well deserved as well. The entire early game was all over to Karsa.
Started the game 5-0 and 2, going back to his old tricks, and he tops it off with a sweet Baron steal. You couldn't really pick a more Karsa-ish game out of his entire career.
Yeah,
right
it was
there.
everything. You got everything. Everything just in a microcosm right there from Karsa. Just play the whole game back as a highlight reel. So good job, Karsa. Congratulations for that one. And it's just great to see him fly so far with RNG, because I think for what you were saying today about Karsa is that his style has changed, right?
Yeah.
This is no longer LMS Karsa. He's now LPL Karsa. And he's well adapted to the environment in the LPL. Like, never before would you see him making the play like in mid lane with the Gragas looking for that catch out.
Yeah, even he himself says that he's grown so much coming here and playing with RNG. It was not guaranteed that he would actually be a starter on MLXG. I was very doubtful about that situation, but his growth, his dedication is really paying off. It's great to see him running around with the A roster coming in from RNG.
Yeah, I mean, back in spring, I was actually thinking maybe MLXG is better because Karsa just seemed disconnected with the style. The stylistic matchup from RNG, exactly. Well, for now, we are going to sign off. Make sure to tune in tomorrow. That's going to be a hype semi-finals. For now, we're going to head on out. We're going to take a break, and hopefully you guys will as well. It's been a lot of LPL action back-to-back. On behalf of myself, Clement, everyone on the English broadcast crew, thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you again tomorrow.